Celebrities don't get to live private lives like the rest of us, and unfortunately, that leaves them vulnerable to stalkers, burglaries, and all types of unusual crime. Thieves follow the money, and Hollywood has a lot of it. These are some of the worst crimes against celebs in 2019. As one of the most popular YouTubers on the planet, PewDiePie, whose real name is Felix Schellberg, has more than 100 million subscribers. Though he's used to millions of people visiting his channel every day, he'll probably never get used to people visiting his actual house uninvited, especially if they're planning on breaking in and walking away with some really valuable items. PewDiePie's subscribers may know that he's unfortunately had security issues in the past. Fans frequented his home so often that in 2016, he posted a video urging them to stop.
And this is a really tough video. Just don't come to my house, please.
But that didn't put an end to it. In a December 2019 Instagram story, the YouTube star's wife, Marzia, announced that their house in Japan had been broken into and that 90% of their valuables were stolen. The burglars took jewelry, luxury items, and special personal items that Marzia had been collecting for years. Considering PewDiePie's reported $30 million net worth, it's safe to say that they'll be able to replace most of the luxury goods. But the feelings of violation and fear don't heal as easily. As Marzia wrote on her Instagram story, "It's all gone. I know it is very materialistic and should be happy with what I was left/have, but I can't hide the shock and sadness with all being taken away just like that." Harry Styles' good deed ended up turning into a nightmare when a homeless man reportedly stalked the singer for months. The former One Direction star told an English court that he first spotted Pablo Terrazaga Herrero sleeping in a bus stop about 50 yards from his London home in March 2019. One Sunday, at around 2 o'clock in the morning, the singer offered the man money for food or a hotel. Terrazaga Herrero reportedly declined for religious reasons, but Styles returned with food from a vegan cafe the next day. Then things started to get uncomfortable when Terrazaga Herrero allegedly asked Styles if he wanted to go out to a restaurant and started slipping notes into Styles' mailbox. As Styles told the court, "I found it a little odd. His facial expression made me feel a little uneasy. It was like a smirk. Until that point, I never felt unsafe or uneasy in my own home." From that moment on, Styles said that he saw the man at the bus stop at least 5 days a week and on multiple occasions outside of his local pub, where he would allegedly sit in Styles' eye line and wait for him to leave. Things came to a head when he allegedly lunged at Styles and blocked his path during a run. Terrazaga Herrero was brought to court and ultimately banned from going within 250 meters of Styles. Styles' former flame Taylor Swift also had a stalker problem in 2019. She's had her fair share of frightening stalking incidents in the past and has even gone as far as implementing facial recognition technology at her concerts to protect herself. But she must have been particularly perplexed during an incident when one stalker was kind enough to remove his shoes after breaking and entering. A man named Richard McEwen reportedly scaled a wall and shattered a glass door to gain entry to Swift's sprawling Rhode Island home. She wasn't home at the time, and when McEwen's break-in triggered an alarm, police rushed to the scene where they found him in the foyer with his shoes off. He reportedly told police that he removed his shoes because it's the polite thing for a house guest to do. Though a security guard was sitting outside of Swift's home during the break-in, he reportedly didn't hear the alarm because of the wind. In June 2019, Kendall Jenner's longtime stalker was finally deported from the United States. Police had been tracking John Ford, a 38-year-old Canadian citizen, after he reportedly scaled a hill to hang out by the model's pool and returned to sit on the front porch of her home in 2018. He had been on a psychiatric hold after the initial incidents, but he was on the lam following the expiration of his visitor visa. Immigration and Customs Enforcement agents found Ford in a New Mexico hotel in March 2019 and took him to El Paso, Texas, while he waited for his deportation hearing. A spokesperson for the organization told TMZ that the arrest could have prevented a violent crime. As for the Kardashian Jenners, who are no strangers to having their lives put at risk, the family felt pangs of relief. They released a statement that said, "His actions have not only had a severe impact on Kendall's life, but the entire family's sense of security, causing us to fear for Kendall's safety as well as our own. Knowing this individual is in custody gives us peace of mind." But just weeks after his 2019 deportation, his family and authorities lost track of him again. In September 2019, Miley Cyrus's security team came in like a wrecking ball when creepy threats forced them to take action against a known stalker. The whole thing went down when the singer was playing the iHeartRadio Music Festival at T-Mobile Arena in Las Vegas. Her security team had reportedly flagged a man named David Rumsey because of his frightening Twitter account. The week before the concert, Rumsey had announced on Twitter that he hoped to, quote, talk about everything with Cyrus in Vegas and apologized for hurting her in the past. He also claimed that once they were finally together, they could party in the USA with dead celebrities like Tupac, Prince, and Michael Jackson. It's unclear if that was a bizarre death threat or if Rumsey truly believed he could bring back the dead. He also told Cyrus's team that it was his life's mission to impregnate the star. Due to these horrifying messages, he was detained by the security team before being arrested and hit with a felony charge of making threats.
This person might have thought that Miley Cyrus knew him as much as he knew her.
A female stalker had a 10-day vacation in Channing Tatum's home during the summer of 2019, which prompted the Magic Mike star to kick off Independence Day with a filing of a restraining order. She was only caught after being discovered by an assistant who placed her under citizen's arrest while waiting for the police to arrive. Clearly, that assistant had learned the right lessons from 21 Jump Street. Though this incident was undeniably terrifying, Tatum wasn't at the house at the time of the reported break-in. This wasn't a first-time offense for the woman in question either. The Blast reported that she visited Tatum's home in the past and left a letter for the actor that claimed that the two had met 10 years earlier and that she believed Tatum was watching her. A 5-year restraining order against the woman was granted to Tatum, along with his ex-wife Jenna Dewan, his daughter, and 2 assistants. The life of the rich and famous is sometimes perplexing for those of us who drive a Honda Odyssey instead of a Lamborghini. There's no world in which we'd leave nearly $1 million worth of jewelry sitting around in our car parked on the street of a major city. But that's not the case if you're singer-songwriter and reality TV star Tamika "Tiny" Harris, who had more than $750,000 of jewelry stolen from her Lamborghini SUV in October 2019. She apparently had a wedding ring, watches, stud earrings, and other expensive items just chilling in her center console. At the time of the crime, Harris and a friend were having a drink at an Atlanta bar. When she returned to the vehicle, the blue bag that held her precious gems was missing. Strangely enough, the car showed no signs of a break-in or damage, leading talk show host Wendy Williams to declare it may have been an inside job.
Well, I'm not suggesting anything, but I'm just looking at the camera.
Luckily, the parking lot did have video surveillance, so we're hoping Harris will get her stuff back. John Mayer's stalking situation was anything but a wonderland. The singer-songwriter and his team were terrorized by a 39-year-old man throughout the spring and summer of 2019, which led to Mayer swiftly seeking a temporary restraining order. Ryan Jeremy Knight allegedly started stalking Mayer in March 2019 and eventually began making violent threats over social media, referencing John Lennon's murderer Mark David Chapman and famed serial killer Ted Bundy on one occasion. This is absolutely terrifying when you consider the fact that Knight already had a lengthy criminal record before Mayer became aware of his unwanted presence. What's even scarier is that Mayer almost physically encountered Knight during a June performance in North Carolina. Thankfully, security found him at the show and escorted him from the venue. Needless to say, Mayer suffered significant emotional stress throughout the ordeal, and in October, the singer testified in court. Knight was ultimately ordered to stay 100 yards away from the singer and his home for 5 years. Alexis Skyy narrowly escaped tragedy during a late-night stop at an Atlanta gas station when she watched her pal's new Maserati get stolen right in front of them. At least that's what Sabrina Peterson, the friend in question, claimed on Twitter. It all went down when Peterson and the Love and Hip Hop star made a stop at a Quick Trip gas station in September 2019. Unfortunately, Peterson left the car running while she got out and walked towards Skyy. According to the police report, a man with dreadlocks got out of a nearby Corvette and jumped into Peterson's Maserati before driving away. Peterson originally claimed that she and Skyy were robbed at gunpoint, but whether or not the man had a gun is unclear. If so, that's absolutely terrifying. Thankfully, the whole crime may have been caught on camera. However, the clerk apparently wouldn't let the two friends see the surveillance video, so they staged a protest at the gas station. Meanwhile, police tried to track the Maserati through Peterson's iPhone, but the thief was reportedly smart enough to turn it off.
So the gentleman that has my car is enjoy it. have a great time in it.
Fortunately, the car was recovered a few days later. In early 2019, singer Kylie Minogue was reportedly terrorized by a stalker for weeks. According to a neighbor who spoke to Page 6, the man in question embarked on a sustained campaign against the singer. He was first spotted by a fellow resident on Minogue's West London street, where he went from door to door asking people where Kylie lived. A witness claimed that no one called the police at that time, but they did give Minogue herself a heads up. Then things started to escalate over the course of a few weeks. Police finally got involved after the stalker went to Minogue's home, refused to leave, and kept pressing the intercom button for hours. Though cops didn't arrest the man, they did issue him a first-instance harassment warning. Meanwhile, a source close to Minogue told Page 6 that the musician, who unfortunately had to deal with stalkers in the past, had been taking steps to ramp up security. As the source put it, obviously she was very shaken by what has happened, as anyone would be, but she has taken the sensible steps. She has always had security arrangements and people who she trusts nearby, especially for when she goes out, but she will of course be looking at other options. Check out one of our newest videos right here, plus even more Nicki Swift videos about your favorite stars are coming soon. Subscribe to our YouTube channel and hit the bell so you don't miss a single one.